Here comes a new challenger!
Hello there everyone, and welcome to my 11.0 tier list. And in today's tier list, this will be my final tier list until the next character drops with the next set of patch notes and all that fun stuff. Obviously, Pyra and Mythra have been released for at least 2 months at this point, and my opinions of those two characters has not changed. I think Mythra is easily the better character, unfortunately, because I think she's a rat. I haven't played Xenoblade 2, but that's the impression I've been getting from this character, both by people who've played the game and from my impression of her in Smash, how she's portrayed. And Pyra, well, she's got all the tech, she's got all the sauce, and seemingly the better personality, but unfortunately, she kind of sucks. If I were to rate the characters in their own separate tiers, Mythra would obviously be top tier. She's just way too good, but Pyra, I would say, is probably higher mid, around there. I will say this, if you do want to use solo Pyra, it's definitely possible. There are people doing it out there. However, that's Wi-Fi. I don't know how well it would be offline, you know what I mean? Plus, she's really slow, so most of the times you're going to be switching into Mythra to move around the stage anyways, then switch back into Pyra for kill power, for instance, right? She definitely has some strong things that Mythra certainly doesn't have, but overall Mythra is obviously the better character. So now, let's get some things to remember before I start talking about the tier list. First things first, the tier list is ordered by their appearance in Smash. So that's why a character like Donkey Kong is ahead of Dr. Mario and, you know, DDD and so on and so forth. It's because I think that, in my personal opinion, characters, if they're in a group together, I really shouldn't be rating them individually, like, oh, I think this character's a wee bit better than this character, right? I think that's just pointless if you order something, because if you have something in a group, then why wouldn't you order it separately, right? Like, say you make like a number list, like, okay, if I'm doing a number list, then this is the order I put them, right? Versus like a tier list where it's just all groups, so ordering them to me is kind of pointless, so I thought it'd be nice to order them in when they join Smash. Next, echoes are next to the character they're echoing, unless they're in separate tiers. So for instance, Roy and Chrom. Roy obviously appeared in Melee, Chrom appeared in Ultimate, so I put Chrom where he would be revealed in Ultimate, but if Roy was, for instance, in high tier, then he'd be right next to Roy. So I just want to make that clear. Next things is that I have covered every character in a tier list. I made this tier list. I made a couple more changes, which I'll get into in this video, but overall, I made a tier list. I made this tier list in one of my live streams, which you can check out in SabdierZ, which has all my stream, you know, whatchamacallit, my archives, right? So there you go. If you want to check out my stream archives, it's in that channel. I'll have a link to it in the description below. So now, let's get started, shall we? Now let's start off with Little Mac. Now Little Mac is in mid tier, and is it because of Peanut? Well, yes and no. See, when Peanut revealed the whole Little Mac recovery thing, which is amazing to look at, the fact that Little Mac with a double jump can easily make it from the edge of a stage is quite incredible. I don't know how until, well, in his Twitter he linked to a YouTube channel whose tag is kind of hard to pronounce, but this guy has covered a bunch of Little Mac tech, things I didn't even know about. Like, for instance, did you know that if you nair and then up B, for whatever reason your up B goes farther, sort of like it gets a better ledge detection hitbox, and it also kind of like, instead of going straight up, Little Mac kind of like pushes himself forward and then goes up, right? It's really weird, it's really strange. So I'll leave a link to his channel if you want to see all this crazy Little Mac tech. It's unbelievable. Like, now he can actually recover. However, then again, his placing could be based on Peanut, and Peanut is playing on Wi-Fi and all this sort of stuff, but he's even been doing things that even I recommend doing, like jab into KO uppercut, right? Because most people who react to a jab are either going to shield, jump, or try to roll, or spot dodge, and if you can predict which one they'll do, you know, then they get hit, right? So yeah, I'm clever, I'm smart, I was a Little Mac man before I even knew it. Next up is Kirby. Kirby, I moved to mid tier. Now, here's the thing. Kirby is still slow, both in the air and in the ground. I mean, you can't really have a character like Kirby who has all these really decent combos, really decent kill power, all these sort of things, has a crouch that I hate, alright? His crouch is so hard to hit, it's obnoxious for some characters. They actively have to change how they play against a character like Kirby. Similar to Jigs, I hate these low crouching characters. At the same time, he's only mid tier because, like I said, he's slow. He can't really keep up to other characters who have either better movement speed or has a lot of moves that help them move around the stage better, right? And obviously some power-ups that Kirby can get through playing against certain matchups can help him in that sense, like Shulk, right? Obviously he gets speed art, then this whole speed thing is not an issue. However, when it comes to Kirby, because of how slow he is, both in the air and the ground, he usually gets walled out. He has a pretty linear recovery, which is pretty easy to edgeguard, but it is kind of obnoxious to deal with him on occasion, so I'll give Kirby that. Next, I move Robin down, reason being, his disadvantage is just too terrible. I mean, it's so bad that, can I really consider him high tier? Yes, he can deal super amounts of damage, alright? He gets a hit on you, and you're taking 40, 50, 60 guaranteed. Alright, and he essentially is from 2 interactions away from killing you. The problem is that he's slow, that's one thing. His disadvantage is super poor without really having a reliable way of getting out, other than just air dodging or trying to jump out of hit stun, so that's a yikes. His recovery is pretty easy to edgeguard, and of course, if you camp him out, then Robin will eventually have to waste his resources, and offline you can pretty much react and dodge his projectiles. And so therefore, in my opinion, I feel Robin is just too weak right now. But hey, that's just me, you know? That's how I feel. As of right now, I feel like with a lot of characters, you could just dance around him. And it's kind of sad because I like Robin, and I would like him to be good. But the more and more I play against him and play as him, I'm starting to realize more of his weaknesses. And again, that disadvantage is just really, really bad. Again, if he touches you, that's gonna hurt a lot, but you can't always rely on that sort of stuff, at least in my opinion. Next up is Bayonetta. Now Bayonetta is weak to shield, right? If you shield against Bayonetta, yeah, she's gonna have a hard time, but here's the thing about Bayonetta. She will always get at least one opening, and one opening is all that she needs. If she gets the percent lead or the stock, well, she could just camp for the rest of the match, and what are you supposed to do about it? Now, I know people don't really like to think of it this way, but when it comes to any fighting game, at least in my opinion, camping is something you have to take into account. I mean, in Smash, you don't win based on how bad your opponent's camping, you'll win based on the stock/percent difference, right? If it comes to timeout. If a Bayonetta main literally wants to time you out, doesn't care about what people think about them or anything else, and has the patience to do it, well then guess what? You're gonna lose your patience, you're gonna get hit more and more, and it's gonna be frustrating. I think Bayonetta's ability to camp is horrifyingly good. So, yeah, it's kind of a problem. Well, Ultimate has a camping issue. It's why I think Meta Knight is such a good character, because his ability to camp is just absurd. But when it comes to Bayonetta, yeah, she is a very weak-ish character, but when she gets that lead, and she will get that lead, alright, she will get that lead. It's not a matter of when, or if, sorry, it's a matter of when. And when it does happen, you might have a bad time, like a really bad time. So I hope your character is good against dealing with camping. Next up is Lucas. So Lucas was a character that last video, and even in my Elite Smash video, I asked for some advice, some help about Lucas. I wanted to know more about this character. No one really helped me, so I had to do the research myself, and it took a while, but I've come to the conclusion Lucas is actually really good. He has amazing combo game, his edge guarding is pretty decent, and in terms of recovery, well, he has a tether grab, and his up B is a little bit harder to edge guard than Ness's, since Ness, when he hits with PK Rocket, if he hits something, he slows down. So the opponent, if they're at low percent, could literally just purposely get hit and, well, tech stage, and then Ness is slowly falling to his death, and it's quite sad. And also, if you use, say, Pit, right? Let's use Pit as an example. If you down B Ness's up B PK Rocket, then he's still gonna have that effect of slowing down and not being able to recover, while also not getting the hit on Pit or Dark Pit. So that is quite unfortunate for Ness, but for Lucas, he doesn't have that same issue. And his zoning is really strong. He's really obnoxious, hard to get in, and like I said, his edge guarding and ledge trapping is really good. Not to mention, he has something not a lot of characters have, and that's reversing the situation. If he's at ledge and you're trying to ledge trap him, he could hit you with one Zaire and suddenly the whole situation's reversed. Now you're at ledge and Lucas is the one at advantage. Now you have to deal with Lucas ledge trapping you just because you got hit with one Zaire. His Zaire is actually crazy stupid, and the fact that he can just reverse any situation, no matter the character, right, is honestly scary. I think Lucas, by far, out of all the characters I mentioned, outside of one, definitely has a lot of potential to really make something big for Ultimate when it comes back to offline. However, at the same time, I know not a lot of people play Lucas, and I feel that because of Lucas's small player base, you're not really going to be seeing any major Lucas make a splash yet, but I feel in time it could definitely happen, so watch out for that. Next, let's talk about Marth. Now, my opinion on Marth is swaying slowly but surely. At first, I thought his hippers were inconsistent at best, right? Or at worst, decent at best. But I have a friend who is now playing Marth and is really telling me a lot more about Marth than what other Marth mains have, and I'm learning more about the character. I've been doing a bit more research, and I've been swaying more to the opinion that he is high tier, right? I still think that some matchups are really weird for him, because there were definitely matchups where he just won't get teppers, and that's strange because of how character hurtboxes are and hurtbox shifting and all that. But overall, I definitely undersold him much more than before. He is strong, right? However, in my personal opinion, I still think I'd prefer Lucina over him, because at the end of the day, I think consistency is better than high risk, high reward. I'd rather have low risk and good reward versus high risk and high reward, because I'd rather have a character that is more consistent than one that isn't. Sure, Marth can definitely kill a lot earlier than Lucina if things go in his favor, but that might not happen all the time. So that's my opinion, that's what I think, but I definitely undersold Marth before. I don't feel the same way now. When it comes to Luigi, I definitely just thought of him as Brad the character. He's much more than that, and thus makes him even more obnoxious than I once previously thought. He can basically get a combo off of any minuscule hit he gets, and his neutral isn't even all too terrible. Obviously, he still loses to camping. I mean, just camp out Luigi. It makes your life so much more easier. But for characters that can't, and other things like that, like I said, he gets a hit, you're taking like 30, 40, 50%. Like, it's crazy the amount of damage he can deal. Not to mention the fact he has reversals, right? He has that stupid down B that just knocks you away, and now you're in the air, and Luigi can juggle you or force you to try to get back to stage a certain way, and he can punish that with a grab or with an up B. He has a ridiculous up B out of shield. It's really scary dealing with Luigi. Of course, you have to play a character that can space around him. You have to play a sortie. Essentially, you have to camp him out, and don't let this man go to FD, because if you can't platform camp Luigi, then Luigi's just gonna run up to you, and he will get to you eventually. When he does, that is something I just don't want to see. So yeah, Luigi's definitely crazier than I gave him credit for. Hopefully someday I don't have to see this stupid character ever again, because whilst I love Luigi outside of Smash, when it comes to Smash, I just don't want to be near him anymore. You know what I mean? I moved Fox down because Fox is just too linear. Even when he has more kill confirms, the issue here is they're all still from aerials. He still has to approach from above. Oh, you know, he gets the nair, he gets the down air and fair, but no, it's just, no, it doesn't work that way. I feel like if your approach options to getting a kill, right, if the way you're killing, your kill confirm all is from aerials, then the game plan is still the same. Jump, land with an aerial, hope it hits. If it hits, boom, up smash. If it doesn't, oh well, back to trying to open you up, I guess. I mean, yeah, he can struggle against shield. Oh, but he up B on shield, and up B does massive damage on shield and can even shield break. Yeah, sure, but if you know the Fox is gonna go for that, you can pretty much just air dodge away, or at least take the hit. I'd rather take the hit. I mean, at high percent, yeah, it can kill, but I would say that isn't as bad as like Nair up smash, for instance, which will kill a lot better than just up B at times. So yeah, when it comes to Fox, I feel like Fox is still just way too linear. Mii Brawler is still just a better version of Fox, hands down. And if you haven't played Mii Brawler, give Mii Brawler a shot, you won't regret it. But yeah, when it comes to Fox, unfortunately, I love the dude, but he's still pretty whack. That's my opinion anyways. So next we're moving on to the top tiers, and Steve moved up there. And why? Well, let's talk about a few things. First, his potential. In terms of potential, yeah, he can only get better from here on out. I mean, ever since his release, it kind of feels like there's just more and more Steve tag. And it's just ridiculous some of the things he can do and set up. And if you're a Steve main, you got those fast hands, those setups are pretty easy in the right hands. I mean, I've seen a bunch of tech involving TNT and minecart and just a whole bunch of other nonsense thanks to Yanni, I believe. And the amount of tech this character has is just completely absurd. He can recover from anywhere on the stage. Yeah, his disadvantage can kind of be bad. Yeah, his range is kind of bad. But you see, here's the thing. Steve forces you to approach, because if you don't approach, then he gets stronger. And the stronger he becomes, the more scary he be. So you have to approach him. And he can camp you out. He can camp you out harder than you could try to position yourself better against Steve. Steve is crazy. When he gets a hit on you, it leads to 30, 40, 50, even higher damage than that. I mean, a jab out of shield can lead to an up tilt into just more up tilts and crazy stuff, and oh, it's so insane the amount of damage this character can do. And like I said, with the ability to camp, people need to realize this. Camping is a viable strategy, and Steve excels at that. The amount of times I've been camped out by a Steve is so high, and it's obnoxious to deal with. But I assure you that camping is a valid strategy. It's really strong. So when it comes to Steve, I definitely think he can only go higher from here. He's really shaping up to be an extremely obnoxious character, especially online. Kind of obnoxious, but offline, when you can react and all this sort of stuff, Steve is gonna be scarier and scarier. I don't know what to say other than that. That character, he's definitely something else, and I do expect Steve to show up quite a lot when offline returns. Captain Falcon has become a one-touch character. I mean, literally, he gets a hit on you, you just lose your stock. You could just lose your stock. He plays a one-player game. Once he hits you, he plays a one-player game. Yeah, he's got a pretty bad disadvantage, all things considered, when you start hitting him. However, when it comes to edge guarding him, while it is relatively easy-ish, there are some risks involved. For instance, if you mess up your edge guard, you get up B, or at worst, side B. If side B hits and meteors you, you're dead, you're done, GG. Even at 0, most characters won't be able to recover from that. You lose, and I don't know if it was like this in Smash 4, but in Ultimate, if he lands a successful side B, or as long as the animation works, then he can use his double jump, he can use his up B. So there's a little bit of risks involved between both players, because obviously if you read that, then Captain Falcon can be stock, but at the same time, the reward is so good when you're trying to edge guard him. Not to mention, it's even harder to 2-frame him than in Smash 4. In Smash 4, it felt so easy to 2-frame the guy, but in this game, it feels nearly impossible. Not to mention the fact that his rushdown, just him being on top of you, it's so hard to just keep him away, but that's just something that Captain Falcon excels in. I feel that Captain Falcon personally is just a top tier. At first I would say borderline top tier, he just is at this point. He's such a strong character. He is incredibly powerful, and the buffs have just helped him tremendously over the years. I remember when the game first came out and people thought he was worse than Ganon. Now imagine being considered worse than Ganon and getting all the way to the top spot. I'm telling you, Captain Falcon, he's no joke. He's gonna be a very, very dangerous character once offline comes back. And finally, now for best in the game. Previously, I had it as Peach and Daisy, but now, objectively speaking, it's definitely Pikachu. And I mentioned that in my last video. When it comes to Peach and Daisy versus Pikachu, they're kind of like polar opposites in a way. Pika is kind of easy to understand, honestly. He's not that hard to learn, but he is difficult to master. And what I mean master, I'm not just talking about combos, I'm talking about neutral, his zoning, and all this sort of stuff. Whereas with Peach and Daisy, it's hard to learn float cancels and get used to the timings, but once you learn the timings and all that, your neutral comes to you free. It's so easy to master the characters once you learn the tech. So, when it comes to both of these characters, Pika has just a little bit more of everything than Peach and Daisy. He still has better camping in my opinion, better recovery, and basically make it back to stage from anywhere. He is a small character and hard to deal with. In Smash 4, he had a lot of lag on a lot of his moves, but because Ultimate says bye-bye aerial lag, Pika can literally just do whatever he pleases. He has lightning loops, which leads to some incredible damage, and he could just really take your stock from a single touch. Not to mention the fact that, yes, he is hard to play. He is definitely hard to play. But if I'm going to be saying my objective opinion, right? My objective opinion, which kind of sounds strange, right? When I mean subjective, I mean subjectively you can think of it like this, right? Like if you think Pika's the best character in the game because of all these certain facts, then hey, you're right. But before, in my last tier list, I thought of Peach and Daisy being better from a player standpoint. Because if a player can simply master or learn how to play Peach and Daisy and learn how to use their techs and stuff, then mastering them is no problem, and thus you get a lot of damage output for free essentially. However, I would still say the everyone character, the character that only requires fundamentals to win, is still Palu. In that sense, you could argue she's the best for just any player out there looking to get into the game and just basically plays really well. But overall, when it comes to better players, it was just sort of this opinion of, well, Pika's way too hard to master. I mean, there's a reason why there's only like 1 or 2 Pikas out there in the world, and they don't even really participate in tournaments all too often. So yeah, when it comes to Pika, I think, objectively speaking, he's just way better than Peach and Daisy. It's just his skill cap is kind of harder to get to than Peach and Daisy, but I will still say Pika's very strong and definitely not to be underestimated. And with that all being said, I hope you guys enjoyed. I made some notes here this time. I wasn't just talking out of my head from before. If you have any questions, I probably already made a video about it. For instance, one question I get asked a lot is, do I think K. Rool is better than Bowser? Like, why do I think K. Rool is in high tier, but why Bowser's in mid tier? I kind of already explained that in my video, who is the best big body. You can watch it. It's not even like that old of a video, it's barely a week old, so you could definitely check that out. Hopefully my tier lists have been a lot more spicy, you know, my thumbnails rather has been a lot more spicy. I wanted to make more eye-catching thumbnails, and so I hope that you guys have been loving those. They're basically an art piece in themselves, and I think I might want to post them all to Twitter. My Twitter is @SabdierZ if you want to follow, and I might be posting all of my thumbnails on there just because they're a work of art in my opinion, and I'm proud of, well, my graphic design, because graphic design is my passion. Hee hee ha ha. With that all being said, like I said, if you have any questions, I probably already made an analysis, I probably already made a comparison, but if I haven't, I'll explain in the comments. So yeah, that's my opinions, and I hope that if you would like to learn more, like I said, talk to me, subscribe, right, press the funny red button. We may have opinions, we may not agree, but hey, that shouldn't stop you from pressing the red button, right? Come on, help a brother out. I'm so close to 600, and so I'd really appreciate the help. Please share the video, spread it around, let me know what they think. Am I right? Wrong? Who knows? Who cares? And one last thing before I do go. I'm certain many of people who may watch this may say, oh, well, why should you give your opinion if you're not a top player? But in my opinion, this is how I see things. I make tier lists from my own standpoint because I just want to give my opinion, and I think that's perfectly fine. At the end of the day, not every person knows about every character. Every Marth main and Lucas main always complain that no one knows about their character, that no top player ever knows about their character, because guess what? Not every player is going to know about every character and how good or bad a character is. Sometimes we just go based on what we've seen or played, and that is the unfortunate reality for some characters that get seen as lesser, right? And I understand that, because I get frustrated every time people keep saying Ryu is worse than Ken or Terry, when they're objectively wrong. Alright, because of my objective, factual, non-opinionated statement. Ryu is easily better, alright, and if you think otherwise, then you're wrong. Alright, but hey, it's okay to be wrong. It's okay to be wrong, alright? As they say, it's okay to be wrong. There's no stupid questions in life. There's only, well, kind of dumb comments that some people make. I don't know what to tell you. But regardless, like I said, when it comes to tier lists, I feel like it's okay for anyone to make a tier list, because at the end of the day, you know, not everyone knows about every character. So, I mean, what's the point of making a tier list if you don't know about every character, right? You know, I mean, you can't say my tier list is bad, but then say another person's tier list is good because they're a top player, you know what I mean? Oh, they know the game better. It's like, trust me, I know more of the game than I let on. It's just that I typically use the wrong terminology when describing things sometimes, because my brain works in mysterious ways, we'll put it that way. With that all being said, please take care of yourselves, enjoy the rest of your day. Let's get to 1,000 subs before the end of the year, and let's get to 600 subs by the time this video is out, maybe before the next video. Come on, help a brother out. So we'll see you guys next time. Take care of yourselves, and as always, have an amazing rest of your day. Peace.
Coming through, partner, we can do this right. You're the fire, I'm the wind tonight. Burning dread, ha, that's right.